How you doing, buddy?
Good. It's good to see you, man. I'm good, thank you. How you doing?
Doing good, man.
It's good to catch up with you, man. It's been a little while.
It has
Been,
been. Hope all's well. Everybody's safe and healthy.
yeah, we're just plowing through it the best we can. It's a difficult time for us all, I'm sure, but
Oh,
we're uh,
man.
we're getting through it, man. How you holding up?
Good. Yeah, we're getting a little stir crazy over here, but hopefully we're on the back end of this thing. So, but I can't complain.
Must have been nice for you to spend some time with the family, though. I guess being a new dad.
It has been, man. That's definitely been the silver lining. I've gotten to see a lot of things I would have missed. I would have missed all the first food moments where she was throwing avocado all over the place.
That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, dude, I would have missed a lot of things. Just been out on the road, but so I've definitely cherished a lot of these moments. It's been really special.
How you been getting on with the Zoom writing sessions? Because I guess that takes some getting used to at first.
Yeah, I have. You know, I mean, it's good just to work that muscle and like continue the creative process. And we've gotten a few good songs from them, but man, I'm ready for them to go away. I'm ready to get back in the room with some people. Just kind of, I thrive so much off of just like the feel and energy and just kind of everybody's mood. And you just kind of lose that, in Zoom writings.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for us to start to get back to normal.
So talk to me about this C2C weekend that we had a couple of months ago because it was so close to happening. We nearly had you over here, but
Oh,
taken away from us at the last minute. So
you had me over. I just didn't play any.
tell us
uh,
about that week because it must have been so crazy for you.
Man, we left out of we left mid afternoon. Nashville flew over, landed about 11 o'clock, and my band wasn't getting in till the next morning, so I just got a hotel by Heathrow and was gonna go catch up with them in the morning when they landed. Dude, I went in my hotel room an hour, and my wife calls me and she's like, "Hey, I think a band just got put up," and I was like, "Well, I'm coming home." I got Eloise. Like I didn't, I hadn't even heard about C2C yet. I just
Hmm.
figured, if that was the case, that it probably wasn't going to go on. I mean, within seconds, I got a text message from my manager saying, everything was put on hold, and then we need to get back, and we need to get back home as soon as we can. So we booked a flight real quick. Went back to the airport that next morning at like 4. We were on a flight. We were on a flight back at 6. My band guys landed, didn't even leave the airport, just turned around and got right back on a flight and flew back. So
Dude, that must have been an expensive flight because there's thousands of people trying to get home at that point, I guess.
no, it wasn't fun. But hey,
Yeah.
I mean, you win some, you lose some. We were so excited to get over and play C2C. It was our first time playing C2C, and we'd had such a great tour with Old Dominion over there for the first time, and really looking forward to seeing everybody and kind of trying to build some more fans over there. So, but hey, it is what it is, and we'll be back next year, and we'll pick up right where we left off.
That's good to hear. Now you've got this new EP that's out now, the new self-titled EP. I absolutely love every single track on it. Like there's so many number one singles on there. It's crazy. Um, it seems to be the way nowadays for people to release EPs instead of albums. But for you, was it just a case of right, we've got this music, why not put it out? What was the
Yeah,
thinking?
I mean, it really was. Dan, to be honest with you, I was listening to these songs on the way back from flying back from London, and they were mixed. Everything was done. All we had to do was master them, and I'm like, why don't like these songs aren't doing any good just sitting in my inbox right now. Me listening to them, up sending them to my band, and my band being like, man, I would love to play this out live. And so we kind of started the conversation then of like, hey, we have these songs recorded. We were shooting for an album end of the year. Touring was already up in the air. Immediately, everything had gotten paused. So, we all kind of came together and said, hey, let's fast track this. Let's get it out. It's a great kind of segue from Home State to this next album. I feel like it's kind of some more honest songwriting, and I'm glad that everybody was on board with it and made it happen. So I am, man. I'm so happy to have new music out.
Yeah. And obviously, Home State was such a massive success for you, not just in terms of the radio singles, but the streaming statistics for every single track on that album that is pretty huge. So, how did you kind of strike that balance for this project in terms of what the fans like from Home State and how you were going to evolve as an artist?
I think it's, not going too far from that. With Home State, me and Paul always talked about, balance. How do we toe that line between having the radio songs, having the singles to go to radio, but also not losing the integrity of my love for songwriting. And I feel like, you can look at Home State and see that with the first song being Take It From Me and the last one being Leaving New Orleans. And I feel like we do a great job of jumping around in between there. And even with this EP, we kind of kept that same common thread of balance, and songs like Church and Chevy, Detours, to go Little Lime and Ruin My Weekend. And for me it's easy because it's just the way I write songs. I love writing songs, so I always have a good batch to pull from, and I have a great team that is honest with me on their opinions of them, and I have amazing fans that are honest with my opinions, or with their opinions, as far as we play a lot of these songs out before we record them. So we kind of do give our records to the fans first, and they do a great job in helping me kind of narrow those songs down. So yeah, but it also comes down to a gut thing, just what songs feel right and what don't. So.
Well, the reaction to the whole EP has been great so far, but in particular, Church in a Chevy seems to have the biggest reaction of them all, and I feel like that's one of those kind of milestone songs for you, like Leaving New Orleans was on the first album, where you're going to look back in years to come with such pride that you recorded that song. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely. That was, and I'm glad you said that, because it is, man. That's the one song that I'm going to be really, really happy to show Eloise one day, and I think that there's just many reasons why I love that song, but from a songwriting standpoint. But yeah, when it comes to, something you can hang your hat on as far as an artist, as a songwriter, and as a dad, for me, that's that song up until this point in my career. So it's a song that I hope gets its kind of day in the sun. I feel like you're right. It is the song that's kind of raising its hand right now, which is, it's great. And I think it's awesome that a song that about just love is getting that kind of response. So it's a special tune.
Yeah. And talk to me about the music video that you did for it, because was that a very recently done thing, or was it already in the can? Because it's a pretty socially distanced music video, to be fair.
That was the first time I've ever filmed a video during a pandemic. It was, man. There was 3 people, including myself, on that video shoot. We drove out. We shot it a little south of Nashville. A buddy of mine who did my Singles You Up video and has done all my photos, Eric Ryan Anderson, directed it. He had another guy with him to kind of help with, carrying stuff back and forth. But it is pretty wild that we shot that video during a pandemic, kept social distancing in mind. And it's also really cool that we never really changed our plan for the video. So it was like, it wasn't like when we first wrote the song, I was going off of a video by David Ramirez called Stick Around that I've always loved, and I've always loved that kind of concept. And so that was the plan from day one. Pandemic hits, and I'm just like, well, hey, we don't have to change anything. This video has somebody else in it. So
it's almost like you predicted the pandemic.
I know, right? I know. But no, it was pretty fun to shoot. There's a huge storm coming in that I was kind of nervous, because I was like, man, and it was all one take, so you can't screw up. So I was like, man, I got to get these right, or we're going to get dumped on by some rain here in a minute. So, but it was fun to shoot.
And I wanted to speak to you about Almost Maybes, which is the radio single, because you had Hilary Lindsay doing backing vocals on that one, didn't you? So I love Hilary. I love her songwriting, and she's a great vocalist in her own right as well. So it
Yeah.
must be a special thing to be able to work with someone of her caliber. Yeah.
Man, I was so nervous walking down the hall to go write with her and Jesse. Like I'd written with Jesse before, and Jesse's super talented, but he's such a cool dude that like you don't think about how talented he is, and like trying to create with him. So you just kind of go in there and hang, and next thing you know, like there's a cool song happening. Uh, Man, Hillary is like just next level good. So, I had a few ideas kind of ready to go. Almost Maybes was not one of them. I think it was her idea actually. But we finished that song that day, and Hillary had done some of the backgrounds on it, and I just fell in love with the demo. So when we started recording the song, I just kept missing Hillary's voice, and we even talked about maybe like trying to get somebody else to kind of come in and sing on it, maybe even make it a duet, but I just kept going back to like you said, if it was up to me, I would tell Hillary to go make a record right now, and I think it would be amazing. But yeah, I definitely wanted her to be prevalent in the master of it, and yeah, she's the best.
Yeah, so that's the new single at radio at the moment. And how did you decide that? Because like I said, there are 6 number 1 hits in waiting on that EP. So that must have been a real tricky decision to
Man, it
choose.
was tough. But what's crazy is it was between Ruin My Weekend and Almost Maybes. I was loving Ruin My Weekend. We were playing it out on my headliner tour over here, and it was doing really well. And I knew we were coming into a summer single, so I definitely wanted it to be something kind of up tempo and something you could play while you're on the boat and hanging out, at a barbecue or whatever. Uh, and coming off of a single like Slow Dance, I didn't want to put too many people to sleep. So, uh, but man, Almost Maybe's just I feel like Paul just did such a good job production wise on that, and just really made it kind of pop. And it was pretty easy after he had really put some finishing touches on it. It just kind of raised its hand as the one that needed to go to radio.
Yeah. And you also had your brother involved in the EP as well with Lime and Detours. So how does
Yeah.
that work when you're writing with your brother in comparison to everyone else? Is there a different dynamic with you two writing together?
Man, we're so like this is weird, but exactly the same, but totally opposite. I think we just know each other so well as writers. Like I think he knows what I do, and I know what he does, and it works. Like it just kind of works. It just gels. And Little Lime was an idea that him and Josh Kurd had, and they were coming. They were writing one day, had that idea, and they knew they had a bus run coming up with me in a couple weeks. So they said, "Hey, we need to save this for Jordan." Jacob was like, "Man, I know Jordan's gonna love this," and sure enough, I did. We recorded it. Detours is such a personal song, and Jacob saw me go through a lot of that stuff, because we lived together in college. He was the guy that, my first friend in Nashville when I moved. He was all I had. So, he kind of saw those ups and downs of the early years in town. And another funny story, he was actually supposed to be on Church in a Chevy. So we were supposed to write that day with Josh Jenkins and Matt Jenkins. And I got a text message at about 2 a.m. that my sister-in-law was in labor with my youngest niece, Piper Jane. So he sent a message, said Piper will be here in the morning, so I'm not gonna be able to make the write. And
it's a pretty good excuse.
Hey, all good, man. Bring that baby in the world safe and healthy. And it's cool that we wrote that on her birthday. So it's pretty special.
And I just wanted to mention Cool Anymore as well, because when I spoke to you in Birmingham last year, you were kind of teasing us and saying, I've got a song in the can with a female guest vocalist, and didn't know it would be Julia Michaels. And I guess that's a pretty big deal for you to have her involved.
Man, she's just, the more I've gotten to spend time with her since putting the song out, we did the video together. I actually got to stay that night and hung out with her at one of her shows. And she's just such a great person. Just a huge heart, honest, genuine. And I feel like that's why that song has had the success it's had, is because it really is. That's Julia, and she made that second verse totally her own, and I just feel like that message is something that everybody needs to hear. Sometimes I know I need to hear it, and Julia said she kind of felt the same way. So I really think it's a great song, and I think we wrote that song really well. But I feel like it just feels a little more honest when you hear Julia on it.
Absolutely. Just finally, I know you mentioned that you love coming to the UK. So have you got anything that's actually set in stone at the moment for next year, or
Nothing's set in stone, just because everything is just kind of still so up in the air. But I know that I have been bugging everybody pretty hard about getting back over there. We had such a good time with Old Dominion, and I feel like we gained a lot of fans, and I just want to get back over there with the full band. I think that's something that it makes our show even better, and yeah, I miss it. We just had such a blast, man. We love coming over there. So nothing yet in stone, but very soon.
Fingers crossed, man. I'm going to let you go, but thanks so much for catching up. It's good to see you, as always.
Absolutely, Dan. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for talking with me.
No worries, man. Anytime. I'll speak to you soon.
All right. Thanks buddy.